What's going on, everybody? It's Kalen Moss, the Minute Admin here, and this is video number 2 for the Marketing Cloud Email Specialist exam prep or just job prep. So I'm here today with my mom, Nakia, and hey, Mom, say hi to the crew.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Hi, Caitlin. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. So I figured the best way for me to teach email specialists was to teach somebody in person while teaching you guys who are watching on YouTube and Facebook and who are going to be watching later. So another great reason is because sometimes I don't know what I'm missing out on teaching, and my mom wants the email specialist certification. So what better way to kill two birds with one stone here? So we're going to go ahead and get started. I am sharing my screen. So right now we're going to start off with, I'm not sure why it says density here. So we're going to start off with what we're going to cover today. So this isn't going to be a full PowerPoint slideshow presentation, but it will give us some structure of what we're going to cover today. So we're going to start off with section 1 of the email specialist exam, which is email marketing best practices. And we are going to talk about this section. So this is the first section I think everybody needs to know, because if you don't know how basic email marketing works, then you're really not going to be a good email specialist. Because as an email specialist, you're basically the person who creates campaigns, and you have to understand the rules behind creating a campaign. So the first step is 10% of the exam, email marketing best practices. What we're going to cover under email marketing best practices is really these bullet points, but I've broken these bullet points down. So over in, I'm going to just make a different tab here. So over in, if you look at the exam guide, you have these 3 links, or these 3 bullet points. Now, sometimes to people that can be confusing, because what is evaluate elements and techniques of email marketing to design effective emails and email programs? Whew, that's a mouthful. So if that's a mouthful for me, and I know email marketing, how much of a mouthful is that for you guys, and a brainful? So what I've done is I've just said, you know what, I'm just going to strip all that out, and I'm going to make it as simple to understand as possible. What are we trying to learn here? So I brought that over to this, and this is what it is. So each one of these 3 bullet points is actually from those bullet points over there. So best practices. The first thing you're going to have to really know, Mom, and for anyone else out here watching, is you're going to have to know best practices for designing emails. All right. So like when you're designing an email message, what is the best practice? Can you just throw a bunch of text in there? Can you throw a bunch of images? You have to know what you're actually doing. And then you have to understand best practices for campaigns in general. So like, let's say that you guys are about to launch a new brand, or you're about to launch a new shoe. Let's say you work for Nike and you launch a new shoe with a new star athlete. How is that campaign supposed to work? What's the best practices for building that entire campaign, that whole strategy behind it? So that'll be best practices for that. And then how do you get good at email deliverability? A lot of companies are sending emails, but it doesn't mean it's getting to people's inboxes. So how do you make sure that the emails you send, because you're spending money to send it, you wouldn't want to send 1,000 letters in the mail and then, only 2 of them arrive at someone's place. So it's important to understand, how do you get all of your messages to the right person? And then the last thing we're going to cover is, how do you get subscribers and how do you keep subscribers? So there's rules for getting subscribers. People like to buy email lists and things like that, that's not even legal, first of all. So what are the actual rules behind how you get subscribers? What do you have to tell the subscribers when you get them? And then what do you have to do to keep subscribers? Because just because somebody subscribed doesn't mean they're going to stick with you forever. So how do you keep them as long as possible, to keep them basically turning them into raving fans? So this right here, email marketing best practices, this doesn't even have to do with Marketing Cloud. this actually has to do with any email marketing in general, but you're going to apply it towards your marketing cloud experience. So this is what you would call agnostic to a platform. This is, you could use this for HubSpot, you could use this for Marketing Cloud, you could use this for Pardot, Marketo, MailChimp, ConvertKit. It doesn't matter what you do. If you do email marketing, these are still going to be the best practices no matter where you go. All right. Any questions, Mom?
No, I don't have any questions.
So what we're going to learn here today is you're going to learn how to research on your own. And my mom loves this because every time she asks me a question, I always say, go and find the answer to the question. And then, you know, end up helping her out. But the main thing I'm going to teach her is, she's laughing because I don't know if I help her out all the time. But the main thing you're going to want to know is how to research. How do you go and find this stuff on your own? So that's what we're going to do throughout the whole entire lesson today, is we're going to learn how to research. And then you're going to learn how email marketing works, like the principles of email marketing. And then what you're going to, hold on, let me try to, let's see if I can turn on this laser. Okay, there we go. So then you're going to learn the principles of email marketing. You're going to learn the best practices. Like if you're in the industry of email marketing, what are the best practices as an email marketer? And then you're going to learn about email deliverability rate or rules. So how do you make sure you're doing the right things to get your emails delivered? And then how do you actually keep your relationship with your subscribers? All right. So it's just like anything else. How do you keep a relationship? So what you're going to be able to do by the end of today's lesson is you'll be able to research for the different rules and guidelines for email marketing. So what are the different rules and the rules you have to play by when it comes to doing this whole game of email marketing? Then you'll learn you'll be able to create strategies for your company's email marketing campaigns. So give me 1 second, letting this cat out the room. So you're going to need to go ahead and understand the strategies for your company. So if your company wants to execute an email marketing campaign, what's the strategy going to be and how can you help them? Understand the correct email design procedures. So making sure you understand exactly how to structure an email. And then you're going to be able to help your company improve their email deliverability rates. Now, this is a thing that's really important because the thing about it is a lot of you who are going to be going and working for companies are going to work at a company who has absolutely horrible practices when it comes to emailing people. They're just spraying and praying, basically, just hoping it gets somewhere. So you're going to have to learn how to improve those deliverability rates if they're pretty bad. And then you'll build strong relationships with your subscribers. So how do you actually keep a relationship with your email subscribers? So part 1, we're going to cover best practices for email marketing design elements and email marketing campaign techniques. So this is going to be kind of where we're going to go out here and research now. So I'm going to exit out of this, and I'm just going to type in this. And one thing I'm showing everybody here is when you're learning how to be an email specialist, or when you're doing a studying for a certification, the main thing to remember is that you want to be able to research. So literally, I'm showing you guys my process for how I research for these certifications as well. So take note of this and come back and watch this whenever you are ever studying for another certification, because I'm showing you right now my thought process for passing a cert. So step number 1 is, what I did was I went to the exam outline. I took the bullet points right here, and then I turned them into just really quick snippets of what I could write. So what I got from that is evaluate elements and techniques of email marketing. So I came over here and I wrote email marketing design elements, right? To design effective emails. And then I put over here email marketing campaign techniques That came from this. Techniques of email marketing, right? And then I took email programs, right? So what I did was I took that and I made 2 bullet points of what I needed to cover for this specific bullet point. So that's step number 1, is break down the bullet point of what you need to study. That's step 1. I would highly encourage anyone to write this down, because I'm literally giving you the formula to pass any certification you ever want to pass. So write down the bullet point in the most simple terms you can put it. And that's what I did right here. So now step 2 of what I'm going to do in that process is I'm going to take this simple bullet point, I'm going to copy it, and I'm just going to come up to Google and I'm going to paste. And then I'm going to come over to ChatGPT and I'm going to ask ChatGPT, I'm going to say, teach me about this subject. Paste this in, email marketing design elements. And then I can even say, I have to study for a test and I need to know all about the subject above. Teach me, as if I was a brand, or you don't even have to say that. Just say, I'm new to this subject. I'm new to this subject. And then ChatGPT is going to think a little bit. And meanwhile, we've already done a Google search. So I'm going to come back to the Google search while ChatGPT is thinking. And I'm going to start looking at what do I find when it comes to email marketing on Google. This is literally the easiest formula to pass any cert. What you do is you find like the top 5 or 10 articles. So I come in here, I just right click and I open as a new tab, or you can just press the center of your mouse. Open that one. I'm not going to look at this one. And what I'm looking at is I'm looking at something, a title on Google that specifically talks about what I'm looking for. So this MailChimp article tells me email design best practices. I know that's something I need to look at, because literally up here, it says, evaluate elements and techniques of email marketing to design effective emails. And this is saying email design best practices. And if I look at my other tab, it says right here, email marketing design elements. So I know that's what I'm looking for. So when I see that, I'm automatically clicking that. This right here looks like a free guide. I'm not really interested because it doesn't say anything about what it is. What is good email design? 13 best practices for beginners. I'm going to open that. You even have a Salesforce article that says email marketing best practices. That would be all I look at, to be honest with you. That came from Salesforce, this benchmark email, and MailChimp. MailChimp's a huge company. Benchmark email, I'm not too sure about them. They seem legit. I mean, personally, how I look at it is if a company is sponsored, it's not that they're better or anything. It's just that think about what it takes for a company to have to sponsor for a specific title, such as email marketing design elements, best practices, right? Think about a company that's to me, that's an advanced company. That's not a company who's just testing the waters. That's a company who they're legit in the industry. But then again, obviously, reputation is subjective. But anyways, so what I'm going to look at is, okay, so this MailChimp one says email marketing best practices. Now it's trying to sell me something. So I would look here at this. I'm sure MailChimp has some sort of blog that you could read. So I'm going to come up here to resources and I'm going to look at if they have a blog. So I would just close out of this because it looks like they kind of tricked me. Like email marketing best practices, they had a link for it, but it wasn't email design best practices. It took me, that to me is like cheap. So they didn't actually teach me anything. Now this one is cool. This benchmark one, 13 must-haves for good email design. And I would just keep it, I would just focus and study on one thing that you read about. But I would just read through this email. Why does email matter? What is good email design? So good email design. Email design refers to the way you outline and the format the emails you create while keeping your conversions and goals in mind. So it's this, the way you outline your emails. So what's your structure of your emails? How do you put your emails together? How do you format your emails, right? What's your format? So think about the color scheme. Think about if you have AMP script in the email, where do you put the AMP script? If you put in, a dynamic content block, where are you putting that dynamic content block? Where are you putting your pictures? Where are you putting your text? Where are you putting your unsubscribe link? Like all of the stuff as far as the format and the look and the feel of your emails, that's going to be email design. So really, this is one of those things you kind of have to practice. You have to learn. You have to go and study. Now there is a good format for how to actually structure an email. So here is, if you look at this is what is an effective email. So if we break this down right here, we see here, every email needs to always have a subject line. Like if you don't have a subject line, you really shouldn't be sending an email out. It's like a YouTube video not having a thumbnail or a thumbnail picture or a title. If you saw this, like there's a few people watching. If you didn't see the title of this video and you just saw my face, you might be like, what is this video about? But since you saw the title of the video, that it was an email specialist training, you're like, let me go ahead and click on that. Let me see what that's about. Same thing with the subject line. If you have an email, you send an email out, you need a subject line. Then you have your content in the email. Now, here's the thing about content. The number one thing, if you're taking notes on this, the number one thing to take a note on for this is make sure your content is valuable. Make sure that your content is worth reading, it's worth paying attention to, and by the time people read it, they feel smarter rather than dumber at the end of it. That's just the way I look at it. Like if somebody at the end of reading your emails or looking at your emails feels like they actually got something from it, they'll always open it up. Like it's like me giving you, mom. It's like me giving you like, hey mom, go check the car. And then you're like, why should I check the car the first time? But then you see like a Christmas present, a Louis Vuitton bag in the car. And then you'd be like, that was a good feeling. And then the next time I was like, mom, go look in the car. And then next thing you saw, another prize. By the time you see that, I tell you, look at the car enough, you're going to be like, I want to look at the car without asking any questions. It's the same psychological concept of if you deliver good value in your email content, people are going to want to keep opening up the email. They're going to want to keep clicking on your emails. Why send an email out if it's not getting good? Why would you send an email out? This is my question. This is what I always ask myself. Kaylin, are you sending an email out that's going to be actually valuable? Or are you sending an email out just to send an email out? If you're just sending an email out just to send an email out, then you might need to rethink your strategy. So that's going to be the second part. And then make sure that you have some sort of visuals, break it up. People always have told me, hey, Kaylin, when you're writing your blog articles, put some images in there, put something in there to break it up, make it look interesting. People aren't going to always want to be just reading. They want to see pictures. Same thing with emails. Doesn't need to be a ton of pictures, but just make sure there's a good ratio of pictures to text. A good best practice, and you should write this down, is a good best practice is keep it at around 20% images in your emails and 80% text. Because if you put a lot of images in there, the Gmail, Outlook, Yahoo, and all that, they're going to think it's spam. If you put too many images. And then you want a call to action. So at the very end of your email, let's say it's like buy now or click here. purchase here, or go to this website. Your call to action can be anything. It can get them to want to buy something. It could get them to, you want to click on a YouTube video. It could get them to click on your newest blog post, to click on your profile. It doesn't matter what it is. A call to action should just, the best practice is you want to have a call to action at the end of your email. So once you have that, just think about if you're writing a letter to somebody, make sure you break everything up and it looks readable. You have headings, like a header of like the section that you're going over, another heading of another section, right? Now, the reason I'm not showing this to you in Marketing Cloud is because I want you to think about this conceptually for any platform that you use. Because last thing I want us to do is get so stuck in one specific platform and think that these rules don't apply everywhere. So these are things that you just really need to understand. And then the last part is once you send your emails out, you want to track your emails, right? You want to make sure that you have some sort of analytics to see who clicked where, which links did they click, which images did they click. So that essentially is going to be like the outline of a good email design setup. Now we can look at this even further. We're not going to break it down as far as going into the text. What I'm going to do is I will send you a link I'll put the link to this article in the description below so you can read through it. But let's see what ChatGPT said. So when it came to email marketing design, look at what ChatGPT says. You need a good subject line, pre-header text, so something below the subject line. You need headers for different sections. That's what the last article said. For the email body, you need to make sure you lay out a clean and organized layout. You want to make sure that, like when it says typography, that's like font and the color and stuff, color scheme of everything. Images, make sure to use high quality images that are optimized. A call to action button at the end. These are all things that we just saw in the other one. You want to have a good footer at the end that has your unsubscribe button. If you have any personalization strings or you want to use AMP script, make sure to use that to it makes the email just a lot more, it makes it pop because it has someone's name in there or maybe their favorite activity. It really just depends on what you're trying to personalize and how you're breaking up your audience. Responsiveness, this is really just based on like, how does your email, does it look good on iPhone but looks really bad on a Motorola or a Samsung? So you want to make sure you're creating your emails to look good for every single phone, right? Like a lot of not everyone has the same type of phone. So you want to make sure it's set up the right way so that when you do send, it looks good for everyone. And then of course, you always want to be A/B testing. And what all A/B testing is literally just testing one thing versus another thing. It's like saying, let's just say, for example, for me, I'm trying to put on lean muscle. One week, I'm going to eat a certain diet. The next week, I'll eat another diet, and I'm going to test the results after each week. So it's just testing against two different things. So for a subject line, it could be one subject line and then another subject line, and maybe you just change the first word of each subject line to see which one performs better. Compliance, this is where things like can spam and things like that come in, which we're going to talk about here in a second. But for now, just make sure that you understand the design and the outline. So that is the first topic that we said we were going to cover here. Email marketing design elements. Now I'm going to give you everything that we talked about from ChatGPT and from that article for that. But I wanted to pause here really quick, Mom, and see if you had any questions. You're on mute, by the way.
No, I'm just following along. I don't have any questions yet.
Does that, most of what I said there make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Just making sure. All right. So we're going to jump into now email marketing campaign techniques. Now, this is going to be important because you want to understand what does it actually take to run a solid marketing campaign. Now, I'm going to jump out of here. So we're finished with number one. Number two is email marketing campaign techniques. We're going to jump over, not to the piano. We're going to jump over to, so Naga says, MailChimp is the best integration tool for email marketing. I have not used MailChimp a ton. I have used ConvertKit, but that's good to know. And when you say integration tool, Naga, do you mean just like integrating to a CRM? Do you mean integrating to like a FTP spot? What exactly do you mean by integration tool? Just question. If you are on, would love to hear from you. So the next thing we're going to talk about here is we're going to talk about, okay, so we were out of that. All right. Just want to make sure we're good here. Okay. So the next thing is differentiate the elements of an email, or sorry, we're at the second part here, which is email marketing campaign techniques. So what's up, Triple T? Stopping by before I head into a Cloud Page demo. Thanks for keeping the dream alive, brother. Yes, sir. You already know, bro. That's how we do it. Hey, I just streamed a couple of videos yesterday of us that I hadn't uploaded. So check those out, man. Appreciate all the stuff you're doing in the marketing cloud world. And I will see you later. Okay, so email marketing campaign techniques. We're going to go over to ChatGPT once again, ask it some questions. So I'm going to take the same prompt, copy it. I'm going to paste it, and I'm going to change the topic that I'm talking about, which is instead of email marketing design elements, it's email marketing campaign techniques. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste this into Google. And everybody, just by the way, I'm going to give you these prompts and all this stuff in the description below. So just make sure to read the description because that's where I'm taking all the notes, or I'm going to add in all the notes. So email marketing made easy, best practices for email marketing. I'm going to open that Indeed one. Email marketing, 7 unique strategies. I like that. I like that. That really goes to what we're trying to talk about. Techniques, strategies. Those are good things. 13 email marketing strategies, 15 email marketing strategies. I think we're good. All right. So, I mean, think about all of these. You can open up 10 tried and true email marketing tactics that actually work, 15 email marketing strategies for winning campaign, 12 powerful email marketing tips you need to know, how to plan your email marketing strategy for 2022. So there's so many things that you can go and research. This is why the number one thing I wanted to really teach in this course is how to actually research. This is the most crucial step I can give you right now. You master this, you master any cert. So best practices. So let's just look at this. Best practices for email marketing. I'm going to see what ChatGPT says. Let me see. Email marketing campaign techniques. Break that, let ChatGPT work on that. And while it does, I'm going to come back over here. Email marketing. Best practices for email marketing. So we have the sections, which is what is email marketing, benefits of email marketing, reasons that businesses use email marketing best practices. I like that. That's with examples. Tips for creating and optimizing email content. That could even go back into the email design elements piece. So that's another good one to look at. How to schedule your email sends, testing email. I'm sure it's going to be based on this product right here, which is, oh, this is Indeed. Okay, well, this might be agnostic for every company or every automation tool. Tips for optimizing for devices of all sizes, tracking. This covers everything. So let's go to email marketing best practices. Okay, so let's look at email marketing best practices. Didn't take us there. Let's see. Okay. All right, look at this right here. We already have, look, this, if all we do is just read what's in the bold, we'll be good. Place the most important info at the top. It's called above the fold. Remember newspapers back in the day? Look at a newspaper. When you look at a newspaper like this little flap right here, that's what 99% of people read. Most people don't ever read anything past what's on the front page of the newspaper. So when you think of the newspaper, think of what it's like. It's folded up, right? It's folded, and then you unfold it when you look at the whole thing, and then you unfold it again. When you say the word above the fold, that means this front page right here. So if I say, hey, put everything above the fold, put all of the important stuff above the fold, you'll see that up there at the very top, because most people aren't going to be, they're just not going to be bothered to read the rest. They're going to read the headline. They're going to read something really quick. So when you see that over here, place the most important information at the top above the fold. This means above the fold. So if they need to come in and look at it from a quick glance, put it right there, right there. Whatever your most important thing is. The next thing is don't buy contact lists. That we're going to talk about that later as far as getting subscribers, but think about it like this. If you're buying a contact list and the people didn't subscribe to your email list, you're going to send them messages and they're going to be like, who is this person? You don't want that. So that's just, I mean, that's the easiest type of way to think about it is you want your subscribers to be excited to see your emails, not wondering who in the world you are. Use 3 or fewer type spaces. So this is more of a design principle, which is understanding how to design your emails with the right fonts and stuff. Declutter your send list. That's another email marketing technique that is really good to use. And we're going to talk about that as we go on throughout the course when it comes to data. But these are basically the top, the next top 3. But I'm not really a huge fan of this page because they're not really giving you strategies. So I'm going to exit out of that. And you know what? I don't know. I'm not going to subscribe to that. 13 best strategies. So hopefully they give us some strategies for campaign success. All right, so strategies. So it's still sort of the same thing. So email design strategies and best practices and campaign strategies, it seems to not really be that different when you Google search it. Look at clean your email list, provide value every time, optimize your call to actions, share user-generated content like customer testimonials, stories, connect with people on social media like Facebook, Instagram, write effective subject lines to get people to want to actually click and open them, use email segmentation like SQL or data filters to make sure you're sending to the right audience, re-engage anybody who hasn't opened up your emails in a while, so inactive subscribers, run trigger-based campaigns, which is basically if someone does this, send them an email. So if someone opts in on a landing page, start sending them an emails from a journey. Personalize your emails, AMP script, personalization string, dynamic content, guide template language, server-side JavaScript. All those tools help you with that. Send emails at the best time. So this is sort of like send time optimization. Did you have a question, Mom?
Yeah. So my question is, now I know this is email marketing best practices. So when we get further into Marketing Cloud Email Specialist and some of the things that you'll be going over, will you be showing us best practices as to if someone no longer wants to subscribe? So what's the best practice for that? If we are, if we have a subscribe list, how to, certain best practices. Is this just an overall of email marketing this isn't specifically for Marketing Cloud. And correct. I don't know. That's what I'm asking. So, and also, is CAN-SPAM part of email marketing best practices, or is that something completely different?
Yep, and we're going to go over another section that I wanted to show you as far as Trailhead goes, where we're going to cover Salesforce's version of answering these questions. So yes,
Okay.
and then CAN-SPAM will show up in that. But that's a good question. Okay, so I get that, you know, we're talking about Marketing Cloud right now, and I wanted to stay out of Marketing Cloud for today, because the key is really to understand that, like, later on we will get into Marketing Cloud and show you how to do this stuff, but right now I just really want to show everybody that, like, before you go and take the email specialist certification, you really need to know just the rules of email marketing in general, like the guidelines, because that's what they're really going to test you on. Is like, it might not even be a Marketing Cloud related question on the email specialist exam. It might be a question on just in general, like, what's the best practices for, as a campaign manager or campaign specialist, to go out and strategize and create a new campaign for a company. And it won't even be related. Like, you won't even have a Marketing Cloud question or answer on it. It'll just be more of like kind of what we're talking about here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So I'm going to give you links and stuff to these resources. But notice how when I asked ChatGPT this question for email marketing campaign techniques, it's taught me this subject. It says, okay, for email marketing campaign techniques, you need to make sure you set clear objectives, you segment and personalize, you create engaging content, which is like, your images, your dynamic content, things like that. Email design, which we've talked about, what time you're going to send out your emails, how frequently you're going to send them out. Automation-based emails, so at certain times, what time are you sending them? Testing and optimization, A/B testing, list building and maintenance, compliance and regulations, integration. So see how this is starting to come in with like CAN-SPAM again. So this is, once again, I'm going to share this ChatGPT response with you to understand, like, what are the things you really need to know. But as my mom was asking, is there anything specifically related to CAN-SPAM and things like that? So yes. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this section of, or this, we're going to go to the pacing guide here. And Mom, I'm going to send you a link to the pacing guide so you can also click into this.
Are you
All
sending
right.
that? I think, should you send that to, oh, that's for everyone, or?
So the link for everybody is it's going to be in the description. So put in your email address and you will get access to this, this link here. So it's going to be in the link below. So,
Okay.
All right. So let me know when you're here at the pacing guide, Mom. Just click the link in the private chat.
I did. It's taking a minute to open.
Okay. All right. So for this section, which is right here, email marketing design elements and email marketing campaign techniques. For this section, I'm going to show you the Trailhead module for you to go and look at. The Trailhead modules and the help docs from Salesforce to go and look at. So I've already picked this out. So basically, this is the section we're looking at right here. We're under email marketing best practices section, and we're looking at, given a customer scenario, evaluate elements and techniques. So in this, we have 3 different topics that we're going to cover, which is email marketing strategies, IP address warming, and subscriber preview and test send. Now, if you click on email marketing strategies, if you click into this, it's going to take you to a Trailhead module that's going to teach you literally everything you need to know for proper email strategies when it comes to Marketing Cloud. So this is literally going to answer this bullet point right here. Elements and techniques of email marketing to design effective emails and email programs. So this bullet point is answered by this module. So everything you need to know is inside this module. So you'll cover how to actually create effective emails, how to follow the legal compliance like CAN-SPAM, Mom, you were asking, CAN-SPAM, GDPR, different tools like that, or different laws like that. Improve your email deliverability. We talked about that. Acquire new subscribers. So how do you actually get those subscribers and keep those subscribers? How do you engage with those subscribers? So this email marketing strategies is going to cover everything on this bullet point right here. So, and it's also going to actually cover this bullet point and this bullet point, which is what is going to lead us into. So the number 1 thing I wanted us to learn was how to research. Number 2 is now we're going to jump into part 2, and we're going to talk about email delivery, which is kind of like a mailman delivering a package to a customer to their mailbox, except for our case, this is going to be internet protocols delivering emails to people's Gmail address or Yahoo address or whatever you want to call it. So email deliverability, how do you make sure the package arrives? Part 3, we're going to also be talking about how do you keep a good relationship with your subscribers? How do you build that relationship when you first meet them? And how do you keep that friendship and that relationship going strong? So now that we have introduced, now that we've talked about how to actually research and how research is done, you can go through my process. Now we're going to get into finishing up everything as far as what you need to know for this section of the exam. So crafting effective marketing emails. Mom, you brought up a really good point for crafting effective emails. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through all of this. Let me just do a quick little login here. Okay, it's not. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about these subjects. So how do you craft effective emails? So we talked about it. Subject lines. How should you craft a subject line? Well, you want to keep it short and sweet. You want to make sure it's easy to read, easy to skim, like a YouTube video. Use branding, any sort of branding that you have. If you're Nike or if you're Adidas, like how can you use your brand to your best ability? A/B testing. How can you test different subject lines? How can you test different emails? How can you test maybe a different personalization string? Talks about the skinny of A/B testing, which is just the breakdown of it. So, Mom, let me actually ask you a question. So, what are some things that you've A/B tested in the past? Have you ever used A/B testing?
I have not ever had to use A/B testing at all.
Okay, gotcha. So for if I was your manager and I said, hey, we would need you to A/B test a couple of things inside of Marketing Cloud. Could you give me a list of the things that we can A/B test inside of the system? Would you know where that was, how to find that and give that list?
So if my manager asked me to give a few items to A/B test, is that what you're speaking of, like 2 email campaigns or something to test against?
Yeah, so two yeah, if we were sending out 2 emails and we wanted to test what are the different parts of that email that we could A/B test. I would like a list of all the things that we could possibly test inside of these emails.
Hmm.
Would you be able to, would you know where to go and find that A/B test? And so that you can, or would you know where to find A/B testing inside Marketing Cloud to give me that list?
Well, I've seen A/B testing in Marketing Cloud, but I've never gone into it before. So I'm gonna say no.
Okay. It just gives me good feedback to know that maybe tomorrow we can still talk about email marketing best practices, but we can take everything we've learned today and jump into the system and see what this stuff looks like. Because today it's a lot more theory based. It's about what are the rules that you need to know. But maybe what could be extremely helpful is we jump in tomorrow and we say, you know what? Let's actually go inside the system and see what all this stuff looks like. So A/B tests, subject lines. Over here, we're looking at pretty much the same thing we've been seeing across all of these different ChatGPT, across Google. Like, we need to make sure we have a good subject line. We need to make sure that we have a good pre-header. So this is all about how do you craft an effective marketing email. So literally, if you understand these topics, these theories, that really the deep understanding behind what makes an effective marketing email and the structure of the design of what it should look like, you are going to be able to pass this portion of the test with flying colors, which is this up here. So right now we're going through that theory, but my number one piece of advice for anyone who's watching this is I'm going to give you a list of things to go and study and just go and research, and so that you have the knowledge inside of your head. And from there, you're going to be able to pass this portion of the test. Because this, remember, this isn't Marketing Cloud related. This is just in general. So the next one is we're going to talk about following legal compliance guidelines. Like, what are the rules to email marketing? So we have certain legal parts to email marketing. Can spam. So Mom, have you ever like seen a list of the things that are in the guidelines for can spam before?
I have not, but I know the company I'm working with right now, before I came on, they had some can spam issues that they have been trying to weed out and figure out. And we just got it where it needs to be. So they had a team that was working on that before I even came on. So I was just I asked that because I was just curious on what are the guidelines, what should I be looking for going forward, and things like that.
So I would highly encourage you to write down this list here that I'm going to give you. So anytime you're having a meeting with managers or whoever on can spam, just make sure you're going through this list and at least having a conversation with them about it, see where you guys stand. So number one is, for can spam, the number one thing you have to do is accurately identify who you are. You can't say, like, you can't misrepresent who you are, because there's a lot of these, like, a lot of can spam is out because of the bad guys, right? Because, you know, people back in the day, they would say that they were, let's just say, like some reputable person, but they were really a spammer. And there was no rules back in the day with email, like these guidelines. So that's why they created these laws. So number one thing is, if you are who you have to be who you say you are. So if you're, I just keep using the huge company. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but Nike, right? If you say you're Nike, you better be Nike. Because there's a lot of spammers out there trying to get you to click links and stuff. So that's rule number one. Number two is your subject line can't be clickbait. So basically, if you say, this is like the number one example, and I don't know if my audience really cares to hear this, but it's like you would see like a thumbnail on YouTube back in the day, and it would be like, would be somebody in a bikini or somebody who has a six-pack abs or something like that. And then it will take you to like people playing chess or something, It's like your image that you put up there and the title you put up made it look like I was about to see this supermodel walking on the beach, but instead you have me watching somebody play chess or something. So people, obviously there's different variations of that, but people took advantage of that, and CanSpam came in and said, hey, you have to represent. You can't lie to somebody and say that your email's about something and then talk about something different. Then you have to identify if the message is an ad or if it's like transactional. So you have to classify if you're sending a commercial email or a transactional email. And what you want to do is you want to say, if you're trying to sell somebody something, you want to make sure that you have, you let people know this is a sales thing. So I'm going to type in commercial emails. Think about a commercial in real life. A commercial in real life is trying to get you to buy something, right? So I'm going to use let's say like a Starbucks email. So like this, like, hey, come in and get 50% off for happy hour. Starbucks, get your Frappuccino. That's clearly an advertisement. That's clearly Starbucks trying to get you to come in. So Starbucks, if you see this, give me that good old sponsorship money. I'm out here promoting you. But you have commercial emails. Oh, come on. Okay. So did I log out to exit? I think I might have exited. Let's see. Yep. I think I exited out of Trailhead. Give me 1 second. Unless I am. Oh, here we go. Okay. Next thing you have to have is you have to include a mailing address. So at the bottom of every email, you have to make sure you include the physical mailing address. That is, you will see that question on the exam. I can almost guarantee you on the email specialist exam is what do you have to have in the footer of your email? So an unsubscribe link and your physical mailing address. So that physical mailing address is very important. Make sure that you opt people out. So if somebody asks to opt out of an email, don't not opt them out. That you're breaking CanSpam law if you're not opting people out. So if somebody requests to be opted out within 10 days, they need to be opted out. All right, so that's the rule right there. On the exam, you might see something that's trying to trick you in terms of how long it should take until you opt someone out. This 30 days, it'll try to trick you and say, hey, it's 30 days, but it's really 10 days. So from the time someone says opt me out to the time they have to be unsubscribed, it has to be 10 days. Then you have to actually give them a way to opt out. You can't be like, hey, call 6 different phone numbers to try to opt out, and let's see if we can really take you through this maze. It has to be really simple for the person to opt out. Now, some other rules, some legal compliance guidelines. You want to know the different types of subscribers and types of unsubscribes that are out there. So there's 3 types of unsubscribes. First type of unsubscribes are if somebody says, hey, you know what? I don't want to receive any messages from anywhere from any of you guys. Like, let's say it's Nike. Once again, I'm just going to keep using Nike as an example. Say somebody says, I don't want to receive any Nike emails. It's going to be, you're not going to receive anything from them, whether it's promotional, unless it's a transactional, like a receipt or something like that. But other than that, you're not receiving anything. Primary, which is kind of like how do you put this? Like account level, like the business unit that you're in. Maybe Nike has a North America version, but they also have a South America version of Nike. You could be opted into the South America and the North America, but opt out of the South America and still get emails from North America. So you could still get emails from Nike. It's just which account are you getting those emails from? So that's what they're calling primary. Usually most people call it account level unsubscribe. Right here, not sure. I've never really seen them say primary. I would go with, type in primary unsubscribe or account level unsubscribe. The last type of unsubscribe is list level unsubscribe, which is if somebody wants to opt out of a specific mailing list, like let's say they signed up for your winter mailing list, they might not want to receive your winter mailing list anymore. They might just want to receive your summer mailing list, like when you start sending messages out for the summertime or Valentine's Day or Halloween. Maybe there's a mailing list for those different holidays. So you can choose the different lists that you want to be opted into. Now, that's really important as far as keeping your data clean and making sure you're following the right guidelines and making sure people are opted out of your email programs. And then, of course, Salesforce gives their privacy thing here where it's like, hey, we can give you advice, but you want to consult with your legal team. Now, there are some really good articles or resources down here that go into directly like CAN-SPAM. Like it will take you to Salesforce help docs about CAN-SPAM requirements, and it'll give all of this stuff in more detail. So I would recommend you go through the Salesforce help docs for this email marketing best practices, email marketing strategies link. So next thing we're going to talk about is keeping your subscriber, improving your email deliverability, and then keeping your subscribers happy. So email deliverability is really important because you're sending these messages out like a mail, like that example of the mailman, and you want to make sure it gets to their inbox. But how do you make sure it gets to their inbox? You want to make sure that you're not having bounces, that you want to make sure that you're not getting blocked from people's emails. So the main thing is you can receive bounces for emails. But what you need to do is you need to make sure you understand all of the different factors of email marketing, email deliverability. So I'm going to actually open up a couple of different docs, but I'm going to really open up a document that I created on Minute Admin, email deliverability best practices. And we're going to talk from this doc, but I'm also going to give you this link, the link for what we were just looking at. Now, what I'm basically saying here in this article is essentially, hey, you have all these emails. Do you want them going to spam? No, you're not trying to kiss your money goodbye, but that's what most people are doing. So before we talk about anything else, we need to talk about email deliverability. The email deliverability is the ability of your emails to get into people's inboxes. If you're not getting email delivered, it's a waste of, if you're sending real mail, it would be a waste of money and paper. The same rules apply, it's just a different playing field. So 5 steps to a healthy email deliverability rate. Mom, I would just recommend reading through this document because this is what's going to really help you set up your email deliverability extremely well. Now, the other articles and things I'm going to include as tools and resources to go and look at, but this I would start off with. So let's say, Mom, you're working with a company who has bad email deliverability and you want to help them out. What's your current process for helping them out? Like, what would you do if a company came to you and said, hey, we need your help improving our email deliverability rate? What would your process be?
You're really putting me on the spot today, aren't you?
I mean, there is no wrong answer, really. It's just
like, I will be honest with you. We are a big company, so if I am having issues with my email deliverability, I am going to reach out to my Salesforce support team that we meet with every single week, and I'm going to meet with them and have them throw me suggestions on how to help me do that. I mean, we pay for it, so I'm going to utilize them. So, and that's what and to be honest with you, that's what they do every week. We have a meeting with them every week, and they go over our email deliverability on everything that we send out. And we just have meetings on that. So,
yeah. So here's a little framework, and that's a great point. Is, you know, there are whole teams devoted to this process. Now, this is why I tell everybody, if you go and you work at a place, you just want to make sure that you have a team around you. But here's a good starting point for how to increase your email deliverability rates. Number one, in Marketing Cloud, set up a sender authentication package. So I'd recommend you write this one down. Set up a sender authentication package, understand what that is. And I break that down here on what a sender authentication package is. And, you know, down at the bottom, I'm going to give you also some resources to learn more. But that's step number one, is you need to authenticate everything. So like your IP address, you need to authenticate, your DKIM, your SPF, all these little technical things, your domain servers, like you're going to have to set up all of that stuff so that all the servers that you're sending from know that you're legit. So it's kind of like having the right key to the right car. If you don't have the right key, then it's not going to matter. It's just not going to work. You're not going to get to your destination. So you want to make sure you have all the technical features set up and on the back end before you even do anything else. So that's step number one. Step number two is you want to make sure when you first start sending, you warm your IP address up. Now, IP warming is a very important thing. It's even over here in under here, which is there was another one right here, which is IP address warming module for you to practice in your pacing guide. You want to learn about IP address. Essentially, all an IP warming process is you want to warm your new IP address up to Gmail, to Yahoo, to Outlook. And it takes about 30 days to set that process up. But there's a step-by-step process you have to follow to make sure your IP address is warm. It's like if I was to walk up to someone, you know, let's say you were to walk up to someone brand new right now and say, hey, will you marry me? It'd be like, who in the world are you? It takes time to warm. You got to warm somebody up to you to get married to them, right? It takes a time process. It takes a step-by-step process, and you got to do things the right way. So with that being said, with IP warming, it's you warming yourself up, your IP address up to to Yahoo, to Gmail, to Outlook. So this is, if you do this wrong, your email deliverability could be bad for years. So you want to make sure you're keeping your IP address warm so they know who you are. So like when you send an email to someone who has a Gmail account, Gmail says, oh, I recognize who this person is. I recognize Nike. They've sent to us before. So you want to warm it up to them. It takes about 30 days to do that. So I'd write that down. How long does it take to warm an IP address up? About 30 days. Understand the why of an IP address. Why does it exist? To warm your IPs up. It's not a thing that you technically have. It's not like a tool in Marketing Cloud. It's a process that you have to follow. And then the next thing is you need to scrub your email list regularly, which means if you have people who haven't opened an email in the past 6 months, they need to stop getting your main messages. You need to put them in a different series, a different campaign that says, hey, we are going to try to re-engage and get you active again, but right now we're not sending you the same messages we're sending to our normal audience. Properly design your emails. We talked about email message design. We talked about that towards the very beginning. I'm going to put the ChatGPT link. I'm also going to put the links for the different websites that we went to learn how the best practices work. And then make sure you're consistently messaging your subscribers. If you haven't sent your subscribers a message in 6 months, they're not going to know who you are. It's like if you call somebody up and you say, hey, how's it going? Haven't talked to you in 2 years, but you can send me $10,000. They're going to say, no, I have no idea who you even are anymore. So just as you wouldn't call somebody up after years and then ask them for something, you don't want to send messages to your subscribers every 5 months or every 3 months. You know, you want to keep that relationship alive. So those are really the rules in terms of how do you keep your email deliverability rate high. You want to follow that 5-step process right there. Now, I would recommend you read through this article. I gave you the breakdown of what each one of these is in this article, but I also explained here, you know, what that actually means, why it's important to you. But my recommendation is do the homework that I'm going to assign to you in the description below. If you watch this video and you do the homework assignments that I'm going to give you, you're going to ace this section of the exam. All right. So the last thing we're going to talk about, and Mom, I just want to see if you have any questions before we move on to the last part.
No, I don't, but this is really good. I'm definitely going to be looking more into this because it's, this is more of what my our digital marketing manager does within my company, but I want to know more about it. So this is really good information. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And this is why I teach it this way, is because I want you to be able to be a sound marketing strategist, whether you work in Marketing Cloud or any other platform. Or you could just be a marketing manager because you understand how email marketing works and you probably don't even have to touch the system. So very good point you brought up. Last bullet point we're going to talk about for email marketing best practices is how do you actually get subscribers and keep subscribers? So that's this section. How do you get and keep subscribers, building that good relationship? So the last part we're going to talk about is acquiring new subscribers. How do you acquire subscribers? What are the different ways you can acquire, which means just get new subscribers? Well, you can use your website. You can use your website, right? I mean, if you go to minuteadmin.com, how am I doing that? Well, I have want a proven Marketing Cloud game plan? Grab this free checklist to kickstart your Marketing Cloud career. And then someone puts their first name and email address in. Or if you go over to Justin Welsh's website, this guy, turn your knowledge into income. Who wants to join us? Start here, put your email address in. Put your email address, right? So there's all these different websites you can see these examples. If you even go to Salesforce, I'm sure they're going to have something registered now. And, you know, you're going to be putting your email address in at some point on their website. Sign up now. Get messages to your inbox. What would you like to hear about? Here's a landing page. All this stuff, it doesn't matter what company you're working for. It could be Salesforce, Justin Welsh, Kalen Moss, Minute Admin. It doesn't matter what it is. The key is that you understand the concept of email marketing and how you get subscribers. So with that being said, website signups, like giving someone 10% off if they subscribe. Have you ever been to like say Lululemon or Nike or Old Navy, and they say, hey, you put in your email address, we'll give you 10% off today? Well, that is an in-store promotion. If you fill out this survey on the back of this email us for a coupon, right? Social media. Have you ever signed up for those things where they say, tag a friend and sign up for here and we'll give you a free trip, or we'll give you this free car or something like that, or whatever it is on social media? They're finding a way to opt in, to get you to opt in. Then you have on your phone, right? If you have an app on your phone, you have to register to use the app, right? That's an opt-in. If you have single versus double opt-in, which means if I opt in, I'm automatically opted in. But a double opt-in means if I opt in, let's say for me, I use a double opt-in for Minute Admin. Basically, what my strategy is, if someone puts their first name and email address and wants to start for free, I send them an email with this Marketing Cloud game plan. They have to click on a link in that email to get the game plan. It all is easy. It's a transition, and I've made it easy, but basically when they click that link, they're double opting in. Now, if they don't click that link in the email to get their game plan, then I know they're probably a spam bot, or they probably really weren't interested. So I don't want them on my email list. So that's why I use a double opt-in, because you really want to make sure you know, okay, did you really want to opt in? If so, I'm going to test your loyalty, basically. That's now, some companies, they don't really care for the double opt-in. They want single opt-in because they just want more subscribers and they don't really care. But it's about quantity over quality. Do you want a million subscribers who don't care about what you have to say? Or do you want 5,000 subscribers who absolutely love and adore you? It's a trade-off. I mean, everybody has their objectives. Single opt-in, double opt-in, it really just depends on the company you work for. You can also use a customer sales. So like, let's say you're calling a credit card company and they ask you for your email address. Maybe they've never had your email, but they have your phone number saved. They can start to put your email together into an account. The whole goal is, the reason you want to collect as many email addresses as possible is because you can follow up with them. If I post on Instagram today and I say, hey, I'm going live here on YouTube, or if I go, on LinkedIn right now and say, hey, I'm going live on Minute Admin and I'm going to be teaching email specialist, how many of my followers on LinkedIn or Instagram are going to see that? Probably like 10, 15% of them. The rest are never even going to see that. But if I send an email and I say, hey, check out my YouTube playlist, how many are going to get that? Every single one of them, if my email deliverability rate is good. So the reason for building an email list is you can speak directly it's like sending someone a text message. It's going to get to their phone. So it's the best way to really speak to your subscribers. All right, so there's a bunch of different options. It all just depends on your company's strategy. Why would they want to use it? What's the reason for using it? There's more resources down here below. Easy ways to grow your email subscriber base. Easy ways to grow it. That's your assignment, is to do that. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about is how do you actually keep subscribers? So this is the last section right here, how to keep subscribers. And we're going to be talking about what does it actually take for you to not only get those subscribers, but keep those subscribers. And one thing I wanted to add in for getting subscribers is make sure you don't buy any email lists. That's just the number one thing you should write down, is don't buy lists. Don't just do it the right way, get it organically, get it naturally, and get those lists coming in as natural as possible, because you want people to actually want to be a part of your emails. That's like getting somebody's phone number from another person that you like. You're like, you might like the person, but you got their phone number through a friend or somebody else in a weird way. And they're like, why are you texting me? You want the person that you're texting to be like, yeah, I gave you my phone number. I want to talk to you. So that's the concept behind why you shouldn't buy email lists. All right. Last thing is, really, it's just like having a friend. You want to constantly talk to your friend. You don't need to talk to them every day, but you do want to stay in communication, and you want to, don't make them feel bad. It's basic human psychology here at this point. So give them a reason to want to be subscribers, make them happy. Don't force the relationship. Don't try to be something that you're not. Don't try to create email campaigns that go against your company values or your moral values if you're a solopreneur. Offer incentives, right? Like, hey, come here, buy one, get one free. People are going to want to be open in your emails if you're giving buy one, get one free, if you're giving 5, 10, 15% off, if you're doing sales, right? If you're doing special member packages, people are going to want to actually open those emails and stay engaged. And what that does is when they engage and they open and they click, that improves your email deliverability score. So the more that people actually engage, Yahoo, Gmail, whoever, they're looking to see, are their customers clicking on your emails and click, if they see that people are clicking more into your emails, they're going to start showing those emails to you on higher up on the inbox. Make a good first impression. That's key number one. Like if you were to go out in public and you were to meet people, I mean, you're going to want to be looking good, smelling good, dressed good, right? Like you're going to want to put on your best outfit for your first impression to meet somebody. Same thing. It's like dating. When you first get someone's email address as a company, send them something valuable. Send them in Journey Builder, set up a campaign that says, hey, thanks for being a part of this. Like give them a reason to want to stay. It's like going into a restaurant. You go into the restaurant for the experience, right? Same thing. People really are expecting a good experience when they sign up for email campaigns. So if someone signs up on your website, set something up to send them like 3 to 7 emails. It all just depends, and welcome them into your world, your community. And if you do that and you give them value along the way, people aren't ever going to want to leave your email campaigns. So it's really just about caring about people. And then obviously you want to plan your content carefully. You want to make sure you're sending the right messages that resonate with people. Are you sending stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with the people that you're sending messages to? If you are, they're probably not going to care to stay. And then once again, personalize. This is why Marketing Cloud is huge on personalization, strings, AMP script, server-side JavaScript, dynamic content, all that is because the more you personalize a message, the more valuable it is to a person. Mom, we were just talking about that the other day. You were saying in that email I sent you, I have your first name. People care about stuff like that. People care about personalized messages that relate, that say their name in it, right? Things like that. So you want to make sure that if you want to keep your subscribers, just do things that you would do with a normal person. Just treat them the right way. Make them feel seen and heard. Well, number one piece of advice from How to Win Friends and Influence People is the number one craving, not thing people want, craving that people want is the need to feel appreciated. So make people feel appreciated and they will stick around. All right, so that's all I've got for you in this video. This is everything that you need to learn. Now, here's my advice to you. Come back, watch this video if you need to go back through and watch this video all the way from the beginning to the end. Put it on 2x speed if you need to. And then what you want to do is all of the homework assignments that I'm going to put in the description below, I will tell you exactly what to read, exactly what to look at for the exact part of what you need to be, why you need to be looking at that. Now, or you can just come to the pacing guide right here and just click on the links that I give you. And it just makes it that much easier. And you can put your status, if you're working on it, in progress, if you're completed. I'm going to give you one quick overview again. Once you're finished with each of these topics, give yourself a confidence score of however confident you feel about these specific topics. If you're at a 5% confidence level, that's going to affect how ready you are for this section of the exam. So down here on cells 28 and 29, you'll see your confidence level. So if you're at a 7 out of 10%, it's all right, but try to get up to a 10 out of 10. So if you feel 100% confident, then you're going to be at a 10% out of 10%. So try to get your confidence level as high as possible. Come back through the pacing guide. It's going to be linked below. And I'm going to stop here, Mom, and see if you have any questions.
I don't.
Okay. So what you've learned, this should say what you've learned. What you have learned is you've learned how to research. You've learned how email marketing works, like the principles of email marketing. We talked through those strategies. You've learned best practices when it comes to email marketing, like making sure you have canned spam in place, making sure you have IP warming in place, right? Setting up all of the expectations for your customers and making sure you have your design principles on point. We've talked about email deliverability rules, right? Like how do your emails show up to people's inboxes? What are the things you have to do? How do you maintain a relationship with your subscribers? We talked about that. All right. And then what you should now be able to do, at least from a theoretical point of view, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually change this. So what you are able to do now, from a theoretical standpoint, at least from a conversational standpoint, you should be able to research the rules and the guidelines for email marketing. So I showed you my research techniques, showed you how to put it into ChatGPT. I'm going to give you all of that. You now should be able to create a strategy for your company. Now, obviously, you're not going to be a pro at this right now, but you have all the tools that you need to. I'm going to give you all the documents, everything you need to read through, so you can start being able to have that knowledge to be able to create strategies, to be a marketing manager, to move up in your company. Maybe you don't want to always do the technical side of things, but you want to step up and be the manager who leads the operation. Maybe, that's a goal of yours. Now you should be able to understand proper email design. How do you structure an email, the outline, the format, things like that. You should also be able to help your company improve their email deliverability rates. We talked about sender authentication package, IP warming, cleaning your email lists, things like that. So what's your process for building that up? I'm going to give you a link to that as well. And then we talked about building strong relationships with your subscribers. So at this point, we have covered every bullet point under email marketing best practices, 10% of the exam. You should have everything from this video and also everything I'm going to give you in the description below, and also everything inside of this pacing guide. So your next steps for anybody watching is get the pacing guide that's linked below. It's going to be at the very top of the description. Watch this email specialist playlist, this YouTube playlist. This is video number 2. Yesterday, we talked about the pacing guide and the exam guide. Today, we're talking about the first section of the exam, which is email marketing best practices. And then read all of the YouTube video descriptions. So all of the assignments, everything, all the notes that I'm going to give you are going to be dumped into that. That way you have all the resources, all the homework assignments. And by the time you finish watching this video, plus going through that, you will have as much knowledge as I have when it comes to email marketing best practices. All right, that's all I've got. Mom, do you have any follow-up questions? Anything else?
No, I don't. Excited to get this started.
All right. Good stuff. Thank you for joining me on this. That is the end of this live stream. Talu, thanks you for leaving a comment. Happy holidays to you as well. And we will see everybody another day this week, potentially tomorrow, for lesson number 3, video number 3, where we're going to be covering over subscriber and data management. So be on the lookout for that one. That's going to be the next lesson that we're going to cover, managing your subscriber data and all of the good stuff that comes with that. So with that being said, Kalen Moss, Minute Admin, out.